wellness revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Welcome to today's program. We're going to talk about Yeast-Free Eating Program and weight loss. At the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, we encourage all of our guests, and we call our patients guests here, to adopt an ideal eating program that eliminates yeast and sugar and simple carbohydrates from the diet. Now, why do we do this? Well, if you've ever had problems with bloating, belching, gas, indigestion, diarrhea, or maybe in the alternative, maybe constipation, if you have recurrent skin rashes, if you have ladies, if you've had recurrent vaginal infections, if you've had jock itch, if you've got fungus under your toenails, if you've had white coating on thrush on your tongue, if you feel achy in your joints or in your muscles, if you have recurrent and chronic headaches, this can be a sign of yeast toxicity. Now, let me explain that. Yeast is a fungus. It lives in the colon, and it is in balance with your normal, healthy, autochthonous commensal bacteria that live in your colon that help digest food and also produce some vitamins and minerals that are important for your health. And there's a proper balance between the yeast and the bacteria. That balance can be disturbed when a person takes antibiotics. Antibiotics are meant to kill bad bacteria, harmful bacteria in certain areas of the body where you may have an infection. Unfortunately, the antibiotics will also kill normal, healthy bacteria in the colon. Now, you may get these antibiotics from your physician, or you may get just by eating certain meats. They give these antibiotics to the animals that they produce beef from, the cows. They give them antibiotics in the feedlot. So you may have that, or you may, ladies, have been on birth control pills, or if you've had allergy problems, people have been put on steroid preparations. All these stimulate the overproduction, the killing off of healthy bacteria, and then the overproduction of yeast. So if you kill off healthy bacteria, it doesn't kill off the yeast. Antibiotics don't do that. And so yeast will overgrow it. Now, yeast produces toxins, about 180 different toxins. And those toxins are secreted by the yeast, and then they're absorbed into the bloodstream, and they can cause you to feel really bad with all these various symptoms, the bloating, the belching, the gas, the indigestion. All this can be caused by the toxins produced by yeast. Now, I found this out when I started my practice. I started it as a strictly allergy practice. And as you're probably well aware, people with allergies get recurrent and chronic infections, sinus infections, maybe recurrent sore throats or ear infections, or they get bronchial infections in their chest. And they're often on antibiotics. And I've had individuals tell me that, especially women, every time I have an infection, I get yeast infections on top of that. So I knew that was a problem. And after I read up on this, I realized that the problem was really caused by yeast in the system and the use of antibiotics that would kill off the healthy bacteria, and yeast overgrew. So we had to have a way to get rid of the yeast, or to put it in proper balance. And we do that by starving the yeast. Yeast grows on sugar. If you've ever made homemade bread, you have to take the flour and you put water in it and you knead and get the dough all ready. And then you have to activate it, and you activate it with yeast, Fleischmann's yeast. You can take that Fleischmann's yeast and you can put it in water. If you put a little sugar in there, it activates it. It literally foams. Well, this is what happens in your gut when you have yeast overgrowth. It craves sugar, and it sends out signals. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. I need some sugar. And so you get these sugar cravings. And so what does that mean? Well, you may use white sugar, or you're going to eat candy, or you're going to eat a lot of ice cream, or you're going to eat a lot of bread, because bread are simple carbohydrates that are sugar molecules hooked together, and you put them in your system, in your mouth, and you begin to break them down into sugar. That's the same thing that happens with rice and potatoes and corn. These are all simple carbohydrates that convert to sugar, and the yeast grows on sugar. So what we want to do is starve the yeast. That's why we eliminate sugar and we eliminate simple carbohydrates from the diet for a period of at least a solid month. And at the same time, we give you some nice statin, which will kill yeast in the spore form in the colon, and we give you fluconazole, which will kill yeast in the mycelial form as it grows into the walls of the colon. And once you do that and go on this strict yeast-free eating program, you'll find that you will feel much better, and plus you'll find that you're able to lose weight. Why? Because you're not taking in all this sugar. When you take in sugar, what does sugar get converted to by the system? It gets converted to fat, and that's why you gain weight. So if you're on a high simple carbohydrate diet, as most Americans are, because we eat really a lot of fast foods from various stores, we're not eating what we should be eating, which is vegetables and meats and salads. If you eat that way, then you can get yourself healthy, and you're not going to have to worry about creating sugar in your body, which can get converted to fat. So a yeast-free eating program is very important, and we have that here at our center, and we have trained nutritionists that can help you get on the proper eating program and give you. We have books that talk about good, healthy eating, and what diet and what preparations you can make that are safe and delicious, but they won't cause you to be feeding the yeast. They won't be converting to sugar. And so we'll help you do that and get you on the right vitamins and minerals so you can clean out your system and at the same time get down to a more ideal body weight. And that's the ultimate goal. So I hope this helps you. And if you're interested, please feel free to call us and ask us for our book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. In this book, I talk about yeast, and we'll be glad to give that to you if you just call the number on the screen and tell our new guest consultant that you watched the podcast and you would like more information, and I offered you this book free of charge, and we'll send it to you free of charge without any shipping costs. So I hope this helps you understand the role that yeast plays. And by the way, I didn't mention that once you kill the yeast, you've got to replenish the good, healthy bacteria. So we give good probiotics. The primary one is Lactobacillus acidophilus, but there are other key natural bacteria that the colon needs that got killed off by antibiotics, and we want to replenish those because you have to have a good, we call it microbiome in your large intestine to be healthy. That's very important. You can't be any healthier than your gut is. If you've got a sick gut down in the colon, if it's not well, then you're not going to be well, because that's where all the nutrients are absorbed into your body as it goes through the large intestines. So I hope that helps you understand the role of yeast and the role good, healthy, low carbohydrate and low sugar eating plan can make on you so you get down to an ideal body weight. I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Thanks for joining me today.
Did you know that pharmacists are considered the most accessible healthcare professionals, and yet at the same time we are generally the most underutilized? Pharmacists are medication experts, which means that we can best advise you on the safe and appropriate use of your medications, when to take them and how to take them. We're experts in pharmacology, which means that we receive extensive training to understand the science behind how medications work within the body. We screen for any interactions which may occur between the medications you're taking, and we have an in-depth understanding of how these medications affect each system of the body. Your body is unique, which means that the type and dose of medication you take should also be unique. We want you to know that at Physician's Preference Pharmacy, we are always available to you, and we welcome your questions.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.